I struggle with that too, in the beginning, wanting to say yes to everybody. That was one of my bigger mistakes as a newer entrepreneur, saying yes, just saying yes to everything. When
Hmm.
in reality, there are certain people you need to say no to. There are certain customers what I'm getting at is the customers that take up 80 to 90% of your time and they're only bringing you a small portion of revenue. Those are the customers that you don't need to service anymore. Those are the customers that got to go.
I had heard before, sometimes you need to fire a customer.
Yeah.
And I was thinking to myself, like, who am I to fire a customer? I'm so lucky that this person would even want me to service them. But as time has gone on, I just had to understand, like, I am in business for a purpose, and it is to provide good service, but also put food on the table for my family. And I want to enjoy what I'm doing. If I'm not enjoying
Yeah.
it, I might as well go back to the job where I don't have to have the long nights, early mornings, the stressors. So my word for like 2021 is no.
So you finally started your own business. Invest for the long term, and I'll show you exactly how. Be good to future you. Yesterday, when you hopped into my live, it was a couple weeks ago that someone had asked me, like, I don't like, how do you start a business, whatever. And I use super, super random business ideas for illustrating my points. And we
Hmm.
used your business model as an idea. And
Cool.
so I really want to just hear how you started your business and how it came to be. I was just super curious.
The business idea wasn't mine. It was my husband's. His last name's Krupin because it's Krupin, Spoopin, Scoopin.
Okay.
And he thought about this business when he was a kid. And they just kind of joked around about it. And I was just like, I feel like I could do this. This is a business that I could start on my own. I could do it by myself. And I was doing pharmacy at our local hospital for like 14 years. I'm like, I hate this
Yeah,
job.
I do.
I'm
I
sick
hear
of,
that.
I'm sick of being inside all the time. I like deep down in my soul, I needed a change. So I came home. I said, hey, I'm going to start that poop scooping business. Let me figure out how to do it. I just did some brief research online, went and got my DBA literally the next day.
Okay. Yeah, very
I
nice.
then I filed for an LLC.
Hmm.
What else did I do? I created a Facebook page. I went and got
Awesome.
like a bucket and a rake and lavender scented trash bags from Family Dollar, and
Yes.
just
So,
started posting on Facebook.
okay, so you started posting on Facebook. Did you do anything local, like put out any flyers or business cards or like anything at all like that?
Yeah. So after I got done doing the Facebook stuff, I went and got donuts from Dunkin' Donuts. I split them up into half dozens and I went into pet shops, vet offices, and said, hi, my name is Erica. I own Croup and Spoop and Scoopin'. I have donuts and business cards. Can I leave both of them here?
I love
Mhm.
that. That is so
Yeah.
good. And it worked.
It did. But what really like set my business off was I reached out to a Canadian scooper. Her name is Jessica.
Okay.
And I just started messaging her, and she kind of was a little standoffish with me. But I seen her post a picture on Facebook. It was a before and after picture. And I'm like, hey, I don't have a photo like that. Do you mind if I use that photo and post it online? And she's like, yeah, sure, not a problem. Because I don't ever want to steal anybody's stuff.
Yeah.
It's always ask.
Yeah.
Well, I was leaving for a jewelry conference because I was selling jewelry at the time as like a side hustle.
True entrepreneur right
I
here, Erica.
posted, yeah, for sure. I posted that picture in like 45, 47 buy sell trade groups, thinking, oh, maybe like one or two hits. My business blew up. My phone was
Really?
going off the hook. I had to leave the jewelry thing because my phone was just going insane. And
So tell me about this picture.
that
What
one
it
picture,
what was this picture, this unicorn piece of content you had?
it it was just a square photo. The majority of the photo was a backyard with like a poopy area. Then up in the right hand corner, it just said after clean. And I said, pooper scooper services starting at I don't know, $50. I think I was charging $50 per like one time clean. And that photo made me thousands and thousands of
Wow.
dollars. Hmm.
Wow. Okay, so when you started out, were you doing one-time cleanings or were you setting up recurring monthly payments?
Well, I was trying. I needed to get the one-time cleans in. So that's kind of how the model really works is somebody needs their backyard cleaned. I go in there, I get it all good, and then I try to get them up on the reoccurring service.
Gotcha. What was the price point that worked for you? Because I'm sure you had to toy with the ideas and different prices and things like that.
Yeah, so my favorite number is 5. And so
Okay.
I was like, $55 a month sounds like ideal, which it broke down to 13.75 a week, not including weeks that were 5 weeks, which I lost thousands of dollars later on, not taking that into consideration. But yeah, it was just $55 a month, like monthly subscription. And then for the one-time cleans or initial cleans, it was $50. Everybody, $50 cleans. Here you go. And it went well.
Did you have anybody scoff at your price and say, "Oh, I'm not paying $50 a month to have you clean my backyard"?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Definitely in the beginning. And I didn't understand my self worth and my value. So I would drop the price down. And 9 times out of 10, every time I dropped the price down, those yards were the worst. I cried. I cried in a couple backyards. It made me really rethink all my life choices leading up to that moment. I pulled 47 buckets out of dog poop out of somebody's backyard and only charged them, I think it was $50 or maybe less. It
Oh
might have
my
been like
God.
35.
Oh my
It took me
gosh.
It took me and one other woman 2.5 hours, both diligently working in this backyard. And then I had to keep going back and spending 20 minutes each week to get it maintained.
So there's a valuable lesson there.
For sure.
There's a valuable lesson. Not all business is good business.
Exactly. And so now when somebody scoffs at my price or they say, oh, I don't want to pay that, I totally understand. If you change your mind in the future, don't hesitate to reach out because I would love to take you on. And I let them go.
Yep. I struggle with that too, in the beginning, wanting to say yes to everybody. That was one of my bigger mistakes as a newer entrepreneur, saying yes to everything. When in reality, there are certain people you need to say no to. There are certain customers what I'm getting at is the customers that take up 80 to 90% of your time and they're only bringing you a small portion of revenue. Those are the customers that you don't need to service anymore. Those are the customers that got to go.
I had heard before, sometimes you need to fire a customer.
Yeah.
And I was thinking to myself, like, who am I to fire a customer? I'm so lucky that this person would even want me to service them. But as time has gone on, I just had to understand, like, I am in business for a purpose, and it is to provide good service, but also put food on the table for my family. And I want to enjoy what I'm doing. If I'm not enjoying it, I might as well go back to the job where I don't have to have the long nights, early mornings, the stressors. So my word for like 2021 is no.
I love that.
Nope, I'm not taking on that customer.
I love that. Because you're in a position now where you've built up your brand and your business and you have, you have standards. You have standards for yourself and your company. I like that. It's really cool to see.
Yeah, for sure.
Really cool. So when did you start the business?
I want to say I started it like August 2018. I did a soft launch because I was nervous to even come out with it. So everybody thought I lost my freaking mind because I work in a pharmacy. It's very professional. Then I'm a jewelry person. I sell jewelry. I'm very like girly and I don't even go outside in the sun. And all of a sudden I'm like, hey, you guys, I'm kicking all this to the curb. I'm going to start picking up dog poop. So I don't know if I was embarrassed. I was nervous of what people were going to say. So I did a very soft launch. And that's something I really regret. I wish I would have just went all in and just been like, here it is, world. This is what I'm doing.
I love that. So you started out in 2018 and you kind of started with the social media route, posting on Facebook and going like that, hyper localized, right? Local in your area?
Yeah, because I really didn't have a lot of money. I had maybe $1,000 to get started. And I started with a 2007 Chevy Cobalt, a car.
Damn. Okay. Not even a pickup.
I put a hitch on the back of it and a cargo trailer. I put a Home Depot bucket to hold the waste. And then that's pretty much what I started with. And I bought the trash bags. I got some marketing material. And then I got a website from Squarespace.
Wow. Awesome.
Which was like dirt cheap.
Yeah. So you started like just one little item after another. You started with the trash bags and moved to the trailer. And as money comes in, you add one more thing, a website, more pictures, better equipment, nicer stuff. So
and then I got a truck. I learned how to drive a stick for this business. Like I learned how to drive a manual. I wasn't proficient at it, but I figured it out all for the
Oh,
business.
that is amazing. So tell me about how your business started. Tell me about some of the numbers aspect. How many customers did you have in the beginning? How many customers do you have now, 2 years later, 3 years later?
Okay, so I had 12 throughout like that what is that fall and that winter. I had 12 solid, and I was still working at the hospital at the time. I was working every other
Shit. Okay.
weekend.
Okay.
So like I was working midnight, so like every other weekend it would go Sunday into Monday. So and that sucked. So I did a lot of my scoops on Tuesdays. Everybody was on Tuesday. And then springtime hit, I posted that picture, and then I shot up to 50 customers. Then I shot up to 100. And right now, well, I was at 147. 47 is like my number for some reason.
Dang.
I was at 147, but I let a couple customers go yesterday due to non-payment.
Gotcha.
So,
Gotcha. Okay. Now, how often do customers cancel your service once it's started?
I mean, not super often. People are just, they're
Wouldn't think
excited
so.
that I'm there. I'm their favorite bill to pay. They're like, we got to pay the pooper scooper. We can cancel our cable. Our lights might get shut off, but that pooper scooper is going to be here.
It's a lot of value. So what would you say to someone starting a poop scooping business 15 minutes away in another town near you? Would that give you any reason for concern, or would you be like, there's plenty out there, go get some?
Yeah, plenty out there. I would just say, do the industry right, price things right, because you want to be able to provide excellent service for your customer. And if you're not charging appropriately, you can't have nice vehicles. You're going to show up in a vehicle that might leak oil on their driveway or is loud, or if it breaks down, you're not going to be able to show up and do the service. So charge right and communicate, and just treat your customer so well.
That's huge. But I like what you said about charging enough so you can spend the money on your brand, your company.
Yeah.
You can put your best face forward, and
Yeah,
you can
for sure.
continue to excel. Because you're right, the people who race to the bottom as far as price goes, price points, you don't have a lot to work with. It's challenging.
Well, yeah, and there's no room to grow. And as a business owner, if you're not making the right money, you're not happy. If you're not happy, why are you going to treat your customers well if you're not happy? So it's all part of the cycle.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah.
I
Charge right
couldn't
accordingly.
agree more with that. That is so cool. So the business is going really well now, and all the decisions that you made in hindsight were good decisions.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so where do you see yourself taking the business from here? Do you plan on exiting, building it up and selling it, replacing yourself as a worker? Like, what are your plans?
Well, this is a tough one. So I do have a couple staff members, but being a boss is a little bit hard for me. I mean, I'm doing it. It's fine. But sometimes I feel like when I'm out of the field, I don't know what's going on as much. So I don't know. I'm torn. Like sometimes I want to be out because I want to do other things. But then other times I'm very happy when I'm out scooping. It's really good for me mentally. I feel like I get a lot of clarity when I'm out there with my thoughts and my podcasts. And so I don't know. I don't know where I want to go, but I do know I want to at least get to 200 accounts. I would like to see this business hit 150, 200,000 of revenue. That is like a financial goal of mine, and
Gotcha.
whatever that takes.
Okay, so to get to that max revenue number, and then gotcha. So you can like basically work backwards from there. Okay. That makes sense. So what is it in terms of overhead? How would you classify your business now? Like, is it an expensive business to run, or is there a lot of profit margin baked into your services?
It depends on how you want to run it. So when I first got started, I kept it very minimal. But what the trade-off is my overhead was extremely low, but I was taking a lot of my time and doing my routes and doing my invoices and manually having to contact people. So the trade-off is now I have a system. I have Jobber. I have a routing system, an invoicing system. I'm getting a new website built that somebody's going to maintain that, and I just have to give them the information and they plug and play for me.
Yes.
So it depends. If you want to run it super cheap, you can have an extremely high margin. But if you want to have employees, that right there is going to significantly impact your profit margin.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So
I
then
don't
maybe
know.
like a teenager who's getting started out and like 18 years old, like could have a really high margin business because they're putting in all the sweat equity and going around to all the houses. But if
Yeah.
that's in place, you can totally scale by taking that money in and putting systems in place to help you out for the invoicing and the contacting and payments. Dude, this
Yeah, and
is,
even like I bought a truck, so that, and I have a payment now. Before I didn't have a payment, so that's an
yeah,
extra, I don't know, $400 coming out, and then insurance. So it's just, and like I said, you can have it as cheap. Like in the beginning, it was dirt cheap. My expenses were probably under, I don't know, $300 a month.
wow. Wow.
Hmm.
Wow. That's,
Especially when I was making $1,000 a week, $1,500 a week.
that's
It's good
good.
money.
Yep.
But now that I'm building a team, like with an accountant and having to pay payroll tax and all that other good stuff,
Hmm.
yeah, I definitely was making more money when I was running by myself. But then I couldn't go on vacation. That's why I hired originally, because me and a group of my friends, we wanted to go to the Dominican, and I was like, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
I gotta hire.
Yeah.
So it's just the trade off. If you want some of your time back and be able to do other stuff, then you have to hire, and that comes at a financial sacrifice.
Mm, mm. But now that you have the systems and all that stuff in place, do you think it will be easier to grow and scale and take on more accounts without having to put that much extra work in?
Yes, on the back end for sure, because I've done a lot of that work over the past 2 years, and it's been a trial and error for me. I have to try different things to see what works for me. And a lot of people are like, "Oh, you're always trying different things." I'm like, I gotta try it, because if I don't try it, how am I gonna know?
I like that. I
Because
like that a lot.
I started keeping track, and my roster was just like on a Google Doc, super super manual. I had to manually route them, and all my systems were in different places.
Yeah.
So having Jobber has been phenomenal, but that does come at a cost, and it looks so much more professional
Hmm. Hmm.
invoice wise. It's
Oh, yeah.
nice.
Yeah. Having everything, all your customer data, your invoicing, and your payment system, like it is huge. It's huge. The systems like
Well,
that
yeah,
nowadays that
it,
are getting invented are nice.
it's wonderful, especially when, I don't know, Sherry calls, and I scooped her, 2 years ago, and she's like, "Do you remember me?" I just look her up, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, you live on this street. Is this phone number still the same? Do you still have Rover, the dog?"
Yeah.
They're like, "Oh, she remembered me."
Oh,
It's all
love
about
that.
creating that experience. And when you provide an excellent experience, the money goes up.
Yep. Well said. So, what are your plans to grow from here? What's your next step? It worked initially with your soft Facebook launch. It worked really well when you posted pictures. What are you doing to grow now?
I haven't really been doing too much growth right now.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I don't, that's what I'm working on right now. I need to come up with another plan, because Facebook's algorithm is down. So I'm having a hard time with reach there. I'm working on my website, just trying to develop a strategic plan with my marketing, and just being more consistent on my end, because I've had some family issues that have come up this past year that mentally have thrown me off my game.
Hmm.
So I need to put things in place, so if situations like that happen again, the business doesn't skip a beat. It's just flowing as it should be.
Well said. Well said. That's really important. And a lot of business owners don't understand that when you go from being an employee to operating your own business. Much like this, there's two versions of Croupen's Poop Scooping. There's the one where you own your job, where you are converting your time into money. Even though it's your own business,
Hmm.
you're still
Yeah.
working hourly. And then there's the other side of it where you build a system and an actual business with systems in place to do the work for you so that you don't have to work on it every single day, all day. And it's cool to see you in that position now. It's really cool. I read a book on that. This is why I'm bringing this up. I read a book on that. It's called Built to Sell by John Warlew, and it talks about this graphic designer who goes and he built out this graphic design firm, and he goes to sell this place, and he goes to mergers and acquisitions attorney, and he's like, okay, I'm ready to sell my business. 25 years, or we made a ton of money, and they say, okay, cool, let's take a look. They say, your business is worthless, man. We don't want to buy it because it's you. Because you are your business.
Yeah.
Even though you have staffers, your business cannot run without your daily influence. And so if you're gone, there is no business. So it's a book where it takes a first person storytelling view of him and what he does to put systems in place so that he can sell his business, hiring the salespeople and putting the right accountants in place and systematizing his team and putting up a workflow that is
Yeah.
replicable and scalable. And then boom, it clicks and it happens and it goes through all the little things that he does. And it was a fascinating book. Highly recommend it. It really changed the way that I looked at my companies.
Yeah, that's what I need, because I do feel, I'm pulled in all these different directions. I'm like,
Yeah.
sometimes I just don't have the energy for it when I sit down, and I'm like, I don't want to post on Facebook today, or I'm not feeling cheery enough to go out and even connect with people.
Yeah.
So putting
Yep.
systems in place will definitely help that. Just like with my YouTube channel, I have videos pre-recorded for the weeks where I can't get on camera or I don't want to.
Yes.
That way I still have something to upload.
You're a smart business owner, Erica. I like where your head's at.
Thank you.
So far, yeah, you are a force to be reckoned with. This is cool. You have a lot of really, really good insight. I'm super stoked that we had this conversation because all that's true.
Yeah, and I'm stoked that you wanted to hop on. So I'm really excited to have this conversation with you, and I'm super interested in learning more about crypto, because with the business, we make a pretty good money, and I would like to make my money work for me and invest.
I like what you're I like what you're saying right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. You want to talk about cryptocurrency?
You can talk. I know nothing. I just know that we bought like $500 worth of Dogecoin, and watching it go down is very sad. But
hey,
like you said, it's the meme coin.
I've learned those lessons too. I learned them.
Mm-hmm.
Mine were at a different time. Straight up. I learned them in stocks. I learned them in cryptocurrency. Yeah, 100%. I was taught, get a job, go to school, get a job, specialize in something, and work that job that has a pension, and then retire, and you'll be rewarded with money at the end, putting in 30 years of hard work. And I did that for a long time. But it was not good enough for me. Up until this last December was when I quit the fire department. My pension, or my own retirement, is 1,000 times better than the measly pension I was going to get from the fire department.
Now, did you have to have somebody help move your pension over, or whatever you were contributing over from the fire department? Because that's the predicament I'm in. I need to figure out how to roll over what I had from the hospital.
That's a really good question. I've been through all this, so I'm the perfect person to ask. So I struggle with it a little bit because there's so many different types of accounts. There's 401ks and Roth 401ks and 457s and, Roth IRAs and traditionals and simplified. There's all this stuff. And so what I've come to realize, just like the business world and in the accounts and investing world, you can kind of do whatever you want as long as you make sure that it all works out in the end. And so let me explain what I mean. So what type of account were you putting your money into? Pre-tax 401k matched at the hospital?
Yes, it was matched at 4.5%.
Okay, so basically money comes out of your paycheck before taxes, and then they match that percentage and it grows in your 401k.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So you can't really take that money out until you leave the organization, is the typical rule of thumb. And so you, in your situation, you left. So where can you put that money? You can leave it there, right, in the 401k with that company. You can cash it out and pay taxes on it and have the cash. Taxes and penalties, actually, both. Or the third option is to roll it into another pre-tax account that you own and that you can invest the way you want to. So that's what I chose to do, because I don't need the cash flow right now. I want to invest it and take advantage of compounding interest, so it's worth way more when I retire. So I took my pension, just like your 401k. It was pre-tax, and I opened up a rollover IRA with Vanguard. And a rollover IRA is a pre-tax individual retirement account. And so I just had them write me a check, care of, Vanguard, my investment company, with the account number on it, and I mobile deposited into my investment account from my pension. And then I log into my investment account and I buy whatever stocks, bonds, whatever I want with that money, and I invest it. And it will be there for me when I'm 59 and a half. So between that
Okay.
and then I started my own Roth IRA, which you can put 6,000 a year into, and that's after tax. So there's no taxes or penalties at 60. Okay, so you max out the Roth IRA, so you know that you're going to be a millionaire. But then, like you and me, Erica, that's not good enough for us. That's not good enough for us. We want to take it to the nth degree. We want to grow. We want to become the entrepreneurs that we want to be. And so then you roll over your 401k into a simplified IRA, and then you start growing that account too. But that's not good enough either, because you want to have money that you can put away too to grow. One of the best tax saving benefits in terms of retirement and investments for business owners is called a SEP IRA, a simplified employer pension individual retirement account. And it's something that you start on your own with your business. And your business is the only person that contributes to this account. And they contribute a portion of what they pay you, right? That's the rule. But the point of me bringing this up is that it's a write-off. It's a write-off.
Okay.
And it lowers your taxable income. And it is slept on. You can put like almost $50,000 a year into this account. And you can grow it. Yeah, it's really cool. So you're, what, 100xing your $500 or, $6,000 a year, you're 10xing it. So there's just a lot of options out there. And I would encourage you to look into some of that stuff to lower your taxes and improve your income when you retire.
Numbers is difficult for me. I'm a creative person.
Okay.
I love building the businesses, but like behind the scenes, the numbers, that's when I get hemmed up. And I'm like, whoa, what's going on?
Yep. That's where you and I
we
need to hire pros to help us out. We need to hire good CPAs, good accountants, good bookkeepers, and the people who really know this stuff to guide us. That's what I do, at least.
Yeah.
I'm going to drop this little gem for you, Erica, so you can go back, because you have 3 step kids, and I want to at least teach you how to turn all of them into millionaires in a super easy way using business money and tax write-offs. So when it comes time and your kids hit like 10 years old, you can hire them to do work for you in your company using the hire your kids rule. And I'm sure you know about this, right?
They're old. They're 15 and 13.
Cool.
So they're at the age.
Oh, that's perfect. Yes, this is amazing. Okay. So if you make $12,000 or less, you don't have to pay taxes. File, but you don't owe anything. You're under the limit. So I pay my daughter $12,000 a year. I do. I set up a work agreement. I sign both parts. And that money goes into a joint checking account for her, right? Between me and her. She doesn't get to use the money. I control it still. And so I take $6,000 and I put it into a Roth IRA for her, a custodial Roth IRA. Because she's earning, she can have one as a minor. It's so cool. And so that money's growing tax-free, like 20 years ahead of time. Then I take the other $6,000 and I put it into a UTMA, a Uniform Transfer to Minors account. And this is a way for kids to have brokerage accounts. And so anyone, family members, friends, they can put money into this account for your kid. And then both of these accounts, you can invest the money. You can buy stocks, bonds, gold, whatever you want. So you do that. You hire your kids and you pay them each $12,000 a year or $1,000 a month. You split the money up and you invest it in the Roth IRA. You invest it in the UTMA. Here's what happens when 10 years goes by and they're in their 20s and they want to start a business, go to college, or buy a condo and rent half out and house hack. In their UTMA account, there will be well over $100,000 if you're getting a 10% rate of return, which is very possible if you just invest in S&P 500. In their Roth IRA, if you only do this for 10 years and they don't touch it and they forget about it, when they turn 60, there's going to be over $5 million in that account for them.
Oh my God.
$5 million. And you know what your upfront investment was? $120,000 total. They get $120,000.
That's life-changing.
It is life-changing math, and it's because of compounding interest and rates of return when dividends are reinvested. That's it. That's it.
I kicked myself in the butt because I remember when I started at the hospital, I was 18, and the older ladies are like, you should really be put in the retirement. I'm like, I'm 18. 60's a long ways away. And now that I'm in my 30s, I'm like, dang, I should have started at 18. But
I know. But hey, you probably jumped on that live and we had this conversation for a reason. Like, like there's
Yeah.
so much cool shit you can do, and it's never too late. It is never too late. You start getting tuned up on these accounts and you start investing for your future, and then you're like, oh shit, what's this Bitcoin thing? You start throwing a couple bucks into cryptocurrency, growing that side as well. So you have investments, crypto going. Oh, it's really cool. It's really cool, Erica. You can even buy Bitcoin with your company.
Well, I kind of have been, I guess, through Cash App.
Uh-huh.
That's never too late, but I have been doing a reoccurring payment or whatever with Cash App.
Good. That's how I do it too.
Okay.
Yeah, I buy recurring on a weekly basis, Bitcoin and Ethereum. So Bitcoin, there's only ever going to be 21 million Bitcoins total. And so when you have a cap on the number of things, the only other item that can change, the only other metric that can change is the price. It's pure supply and demand. And so now that it's growing in popularity and there's less Bitcoins than, there is demand for them, the price continues to go up, and it will keep going up. And it will dip and whatnot.
It's up at what, 50? 50,000 today? That's wild.
Crazy. It's crazy. But it's cool, and it's here to stay.
How do I buy, is it Ethereum? Am I pronouncing it right? How do I purchase that? Because I didn't see that on Cash App.
Yeah, Cash App. So
do I need to go to crypto.com?
You can, but I would probably recommend using Gemini or Coinbase or Binance. Let's see, because of in your position, I would think that Cash App and Coinbase or Gemini would be the three easiest place for you to buy cryptocurrency. Yes. Gemini is going to have access to some more coins to buy. Cash App's just going to have Bitcoin.
Yes.
So Bitcoin's like the gold standard for cryptocurrency, and you can't go wrong with that. But people aren't going to be using it transactionally for coffees and things like that. Ethereum, probably not either. Ethereum's more so the decentralized internet. By investing in Ethereum, you're investing in like 90% of all the other cryptocurrencies out there because they're built on Ethereum's technology. So a lot of people fail to, or they don't fail to, but they forget that Ethereum drives the technology for most other cryptocurrencies out there.
When I purchased Ethereum, I was looking at it and it says $1,800. So is that $1,800 per share, or do I have to purchase $1,800 at once?
It's a really good question.
Do like $100 here, $200 there?
The short answer is yes, you're correct. You can divide a Bitcoin up into 1 million pieces. It's called a Satoshi. So you can buy 1/1,000,000th of a Bitcoin. Yeah, you can also buy like 1/10 of an Ethereum or 0.00021 Ethereum.
Okay.
What's cool about crypto is that it's divisible. Yeah.
Okay, really I like that.
Yes, and what's cool is if you invest the company money into Bitcoin, you can keep it on your balance sheet. And if Bitcoin goes up in value, it goes up in value. You don't have to pay taxes on it until you convert it. Which realistically in the future, you shouldn't ever have to. You should be able to spend Bitcoin as Bitcoin. You should never have to convert it back. So if you can wait that long, definitely. But if Bitcoin goes down in value and you have earnings from your company that you want to offset, you can sell some Bitcoin to lower your taxable income by offsetting some of your earnings. That's why Tesla did it. It's called a marketable security. And I walked through it with my CPA the other day so that we could put Bitcoin on our balance sheets for my company so I could take advantage of it. But I dork out on that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I watch all your lives and not all of them, but as many as I can catch. And I hear you talking about the stuff. And I love how excited you get. And you actually got me excited about it because it seemed very intimidating. But you and your badass, that's awesome. I'm like, okay, I can do this.
Yes.
Let's do it.
Yep. Just simply buying it with Cash App. You're good, man. You're investing. You're buying Bitcoin. It's that simple. There's a million places to go to buy it. And it's true. It's similar to the stock market, but different, It never sleeps, never turns off, never goes away. But it can really be that simple, what you're doing right now. And I think that's awesome. Now, one thing I did want to mention, you've heard me talk about it all the time. Just when you have like a few $1,000s worth, get a hardware wallet and learn how to use it and learn how to keep your cryptocurrency really, really safe and secure.
Okay.
That's all. Now, just so you know, by putting it into your hardware wallet, you're actually storing your Bitcoin on the blockchain. So you don't have to worry about your device being destroyed or damaged or broken. You can always just buy a new device and plug in your codes and you'll have access to your crypto. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, I'm trying to like envision all this. I feel like an old person that's trying to figure out technology. I'm like, wait, how does this make sense? Online wallet? What?
Yes. And so that just goes to show we're not there yet. This is still the early phase.
No.
And Bitcoin's at $50,000 and we're still early adopters. What the shit? What's it going to go to?
I don't know. Sky's the limit, but I'm excited.
Erica, thank you for joining me today and talking to me about your business. Like, this is so exciting and super beneficial. I cannot wait to share this conversation with people. They're going to learn a ton from you. You have a lot of good insight.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And if they want to check out more, they want to check out my YouTube channel, it's just Croupins Poop and Scoopin'. Final thoughts is if you want to start a poop scooping business and you like to work outside, just do it. Get your DBA and just get started.
That's the best advice I think you could possibly give to those to anyone out there listening. Like, just get a DBA and get started. It's really that simple. Because you started with just a couple trash bags, a couple buckets, and a rake.
Lavender scented, and still to this day, when I smell those, it brings me back to those humble beginnings.
Smells do that. I love that. Erica, you're awesome. Thanks. We'll talk soon, okay?
All right. Bye.
Bye. Have a wonderful day.
You too.